Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. We begin always in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking His blessings. And we request praises and blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, our teacher, our master and the final messenger. To my brothers and sisters in Islam, Salamullahi alaykum wa rahmatuhu wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, may His blessings, may His safety be upon you all, and welcome to another episode and Islam step by step. In today's episode, brothers and sisters in Islam, I want to discuss with you all matters pertaining to major ritual impurity, and in particular those aspects that take us out of the state of ritual purity into the state of major ritual impurity. In previous episodes, we discussed those aspects that take us into the state of minor ritual impurity, and we discussed the wudu and how to perform the ablution. Right? By wudu, I mean the ablution. And by performing the wudu and the ablution, we come back into the state of ritual purity. Today, we want to focus on what takes us out of the state of ritual purity and into the state of major ritual impurity. Islam has taught us in detail these aspects, and they are as follows. The first aspect that takes us into a state of major ritual impurity is ejaculation, which occurs with pleasure. Right? So sometimes you have a person, because of certain weaknesses or because of a certain event, they ejaculate. We're not discussing this. We're discussing ejaculation that occurs with pleasure. Right? When a person ejaculates with pleasure, this takes them out of the state of ritual purity and places them into a state of major ritual impurity. And remember, we said in previous lessons that when you are in a state of major ritual impurity, there's no way for you to get back into a state of ritual purity except through the ghusl, or the bathing, where you bathe the entire body, you wash the entire body. So this is the first aspect. The second aspect that causes one to fall into a state of major ritual impurity is matrimonial relations. Now, the scholars separate between the first aspect and this aspect. Remember, the first aspect was ejaculation with pleasure. And the second aspect now we're discussing is matrimonial relations or sexual relations. They separate between the two because when they studied the sources of Islam and the teachings of the Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and different questions that were asked to him, and different answers that he gave to those questions, or the answers that he gave to those questions, the scholars understood that sexual relations causes one to fall into a state of major ritual impurity, because sometimes sexual relations can happen without ejaculation. And this is why they separated between the two. So ejaculation with pleasure causes a person to fall into a state of major ritual impurity. And sexual relations, even if it happens without ejaculation, causes a person to fall into major ritual impurity. Right? So when a person performs intercourse, even if no ejaculation takes place from the side of the male, or an orgasm isn't experienced from the side of a female, the fact that intercourse took place, this causes a person to fall into the state of major ritual impurity. Again, an entire ghusl or the entire bathing needs to take place before they come back and fall back into the state of ritual purity. The third aspect that causes one to fall into the state of major ritual impurity, and this is specific to a female, this is the menstrual cycle and postnatal bleeding after childbirth. When a female experiences her monthly cycle, her monthly bleeding, or bleeding after childbirth, this places her into a state of major ritual impurity. And when her bleeding cycle for the month is over and the postnatal bleeding ends, she observes the ghusl, or the bathing, the complete bathing, which inshallah we will discuss in future episodes, and through this she will then fall into the state of ritual purity. Now, regarding the menstrual cycle, it should also be said that when a female is experiencing her menstrual cycle, then she is not allowed to fast during those days or pray during those days. And she doesn't even have to make up the prayer missed during those days. As for the fast missed during those days, during the day she was experiencing postnatal bleeding, or during the day she was experiencing her monthly bleeding, she doesn't have to make up the prayers for that period, but she has to make up the fasts for that period. I pray this lesson reaches you whilst you are well and reaches you in a clear manner, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you all and increase you in knowledge.